Hello, everybody. This is Pete from PA Labs, picking up on our database series here for the Beginner's Corner. And as a little minor recap, we've created a database, we've selected a database administrator, and now we're building towards getting to there to use it. So the first step in this journey is we have a main screen and we have a detail screen. And on our main screen, we currently have working with a list database. It's not really our database, but it's going to eventually be. We're using a list database, one screen, and we can create so long as your name is new, and we can delete so long as we want to delete new. So works great. We turn the program off, everything's gone, and we got to start over. And that's why we want to build a database. So in order to tie in the next screen, though it is possible with the one control loop to include many, many, many screens, it gets a bit insane to do such things. As a rule, I like to come in and say, okay, main is main, and he has his own control loop. And then I like to group like things together. So employees, if we had employees, their address, and maybe their children's names, then that would be under its own control loop. If we had accounts, and underneath accounts you had something else, I don't know what, then that would be grouped together under its own control loop. So what we're going to do is build a second control loop. Now, proper code, we're not wanting to mix our main screen code with the other chunks of code. You'll end up getting a single sheet of code that's tens of thousands of lines long, which is just crazy talk. So what we're going to do is we're going to create, well, first let's get rid of some of this other stuff out of our way. We're going to create a new sheet, and let's go ahead and call this save as, and this is a code sheet behind a form. So I'm going to go ahead and say this is employee. All right, so there we go, .pb, right? So it's actually containing the same name as our file, which is kind of cool. Okay, and we will go ahead and add it to our project. And then we can come over to our main sheet. Let's scroll on up to the top here because we want to include this, right? So we can come in here and say X include FRM employee PB. All right, now, I'm closing. Okay, so let's look at our project. So we do have employees. So now employees here. And, the first thing I'm going to do is these have nothing to do with main. These have everything to do with employees. So I'm going to take them out of here, and let's come over here and let's go ahead and shove them down there. So now, what we're going to want to do is build some more procedures in here. So what I want to do is say, let's do a set employee screen. All right. Or actually, that's going to be kind of silly when it gets all put together. See, okay, let's change this to just employee set screen. Cool. And then down here, how about if we say employee? Because you know what? These names have to be unique across your entire application. So calling something just create is going to be, it's first, it's not descriptive enough. Okay. Um, create what? We may create accounts, we may create addresses, we may create employees, we may create invoices, we may create a whole list of things, right? So what we don't want to do is have an um, ambiguous name in here that doesn't say what it is. So uh, we'll prefix everything in here with employee and then what it does. So let's come down here, and so we're gonna need a PLOY. We're gonna need an employee save, right? Oops, that's a procedure. All right, now we can let's see. And okay. So now we have our employee save down here. Now, since we're dealing with an employee, let's see. So the jobs here, the jobs we want this guy to perform is show screen, right? We need him to show the screen for us. And then we want to say load the screen with let's load the screen with the object data. And the object would be, okay, we created a new employee. So we have, that's kind of moving this code up here. So, you know, why don't we come up here and let's start being a little smarter. We have, did I delete it or did I leave it? Oh, I left it. Yay. Okay, okay. So this has to be here. Agreed. So why don't we create a variable over here? Maybe it's better over here. Let's come in here and say, let's create a global variable, huh? We should fix some code real quick, but hold on. Let's go do that. Employee. These guys are all named employee now, right? So we can fix the code before we go on to break more code. Let's go ahead and fix what we got. And then we come down here and you're calling employee create, you're calling modify create, and then you're calling delete. Okay. So being as this is something that we got a form for now, what we don't really want to pass around this list. Let's go ahead and set up a global select dot employee, right? What did I call that? Person up top? I don't remember. Person, yes. Okay, so we can say selected employee, EmployeE, and then this is person, right? Okay, so now we have a selected employee that's a global variable. So now we come down here and we're going to say, all right, you hit add. All right, let's go jump. I'm going to hold the control key down and double click the name. And we're going to jump over here. And I don't really need the list anymore. What we have is this global selected employee. So let's come into here and let's get rid of all of this. And we can say selected ECTED employee name, and let's make sure it's nothing, and selected. So basically what we're doing is initializing this variable. All right. Whoops, age. Thank you. And we can say, okay, we're going to initialize the age at 25. And now what I want to do is call this guy here to present the screen. And that's really what his job here is first initialize and call, call set screen, Or yeah, screen. So his job is to initialize and set the screen. The employee modify now is going to have different jobs. They're going to be the same. So we want to initialize our variable or object, initialize, and we're going to go into load up the variable, LOAD, and then we're going to call set screen. Okay, now down here, well, he's doing everything we need him to do. So that's all great. So then now we have this selected employee that comes up here. So what is it that we want to do inside this loop? Well, that's kind of straightforward in my book. What do we want him to do? We want him to come along and go to here, and let's go ahead and put our event loop in there. We're going to have a new event loop, right? And what was our screen name? Our screen name is employee. So we have an employee quit true. And if it's this will be case our screen, and that will be window FRM. Person. Whoops. Oh, well. Fine. We'll rename you person. I don't know. We'll see. We'll get some of these screwed up. You can see how this kind of creates iteratively. You go through and you figure out what you did wrong, and then you keep going. Okay, so then up here, we have to put you in here and say you're false. Oops, E. And we've also got to define you. Well, we're in a procedure now. Ah, that's true. We're in a procedure now. All right. You can't be defined in the procedure. You got to be defined outside the procedure. And then you can be shared into the procedure. And defines need to be changed to protected. Okay, and then we can come into this and say shared this guy. Okay, and then our last step here is hide window false. And I'm getting tired of copying or typing this guy. So we have window person. So, okay, now. All right, so now we've called our create screen. No, we have not. All right, so we come into this and say if open window person, right? There we go. That's what we want to start with. And then all of this can jump over, and then we can add our end if at the bottom. Now, normally when we do this, we come down here and say end, right? Well, that's the last thing we want to do because we're being called. So let's see, the main screen is going to call create employee. Create employee is going to call that. Think in terms of the thread of execution. So we're on the main screen over there and it calls here. So we go through this. He jumps up to here now. And then it runs through here and we're done with this screen. Last thing I want to do is end. I'm going to leave it open. If I leave that open, then what he does is return to the calling function, which his next line is that he's done. So then he's going to return to the calling function here and then just continue his processing of this loop. All right. So what we do want to make sure is that we come down here and say until that, and then what we have to do is say close window, and I think it's still there. So there we go. So we close down our window and we're good to go. Now, there's a lot of stuff you can do, but we're just sticking with what we're doing. Now, let's see. We've shown our screen. We have our new event loop. We have our new control loop there. So now what we want this to do is to load the screen, right? So we do a set gadget text. And this would be pound gadget FRM person. And we have name, right? And that's going to equal what? Well, it's going to equal selected name. Oh, wait, employee, right? And then name. Great. Now what we want to do is the same thing for age. So we're loading the form values with what we have out here. Well, all right, that we know is going to be a problem because it's an integer and we're going to have to convert him to a string for us. Okay, so now, fantastic. There we go. What do you say we run this and see what we get? I think it's kind of cool. Coming to the end of this video, hopefully this will just work, but of course it won't. Is not a function or, okay. Thread of execution got bit. All right, so this guy is created, let's see. Here's our awesome windows. He's on the wrong side of the window create. So we got to move him down here. And now he can see the windows that he has there. All right, so, and now what don't you like? Selected employee. That's a list. We didn't share it. All right, so share. Oh, wait, this is I thought I defined him as a global selected employee. Are you going to make me share in a global selected employee person? I guess that's what he's saying. So if he's got a problem, then we also know that this guy is going to have a problem. And this guy will, oh no, we shared him in here. Duh. All right. So yes, that's exactly what he's saying. So we share that in, and now, oh, why is that? Hold on. I think this is thread of execution. Look where I created him. I created him below there. Habitat. How about that? Yes. And list employees. Let's see. Do we still have that function? Ah, yes. Here's list employees. So what we're going to need to do is we can put a declare over here and say, hey, this is going to be in existence before you get done with this program. Okay. And declare employee create is already declared. Ah, he can see those. So you know what? I'm going to take these. If he can see all of that, then let's go ahead and put them over here with this, because that probably is going to be important at some point in the future. Hey, hey, hey. We pass compile. We have our screen. We hit create, and lo and behold, look at this. We have our new screen. We can type in Pete and say I'm 25 and hit save. Well, we don't have any of this code in yet, but this is a great breaking point for this video. And thank you all for watching, and we will pick up immediately with the next video.